Over the years, I've met so many people with diabetes. They follow every rule, eat carefully, take their medicine right on time, even force themselves to go for a walk when their legs ache. But still, their blood sugar stays high. Day after day, week after week. Have you ever felt that? That sinking feeling when you test in the morning, and the number is still higher than you hoped? It's frustrating. It's exhausting. Sometimes, it's scary. Because you know the risks. The eyes, getting blurry. The kidneys, slowly weakening. The nerves in your feet, losing feeling. And the heart, always under silent pressure. I've seen patients who say, "Doctor, I'm doing everything I can. Why is this still happening?" And I understand their fear. Because when you're trying so hard, but the numbers don't move, it feels like you're losing the battle. But here's something I've learned in my 50 years as a doctor. Sometimes, the problem isn't the medicine. It isn't the willpower. It's something missing inside your body. 2 small minerals. So small, you could hold a month's supply in the palm of your hand. But without them, your insulin can't work properly. Yes, you heard me right. Your body may be producing insulin, or you may be injecting it. But if these 2 minerals are missing, your cells won't open the door to let sugar in. The result? Sugar builds up in your blood. And no matter how hard you try, it stays high. But here's the good news. If you know what these minerals are, and you get enough of them every day, your blood sugar can start behaving. Without adding more medication. I've seen it happen in my own patients. I've seen the numbers drop. I've seen the energy come back. And I've seen the fear fade from their eyes. That's why, in this video, I want to share exactly what those 2 minerals are, why they're missing from so many diets, and how you can safely get enough of them, starting today. So, stay with me until the end. This could be the missing piece you've been searching for. And, if you care about your health, or you have a loved one living with diabetes, I invite you to subscribe to this channel. Because every week, I share proven, practical tips, things I've learned over decades of treating real people. Click like if you find this topic important. And feel free to leave a comment. Share your story, because your experience might just help someone else. Alright, let's talk about the silent deficiencies that keep blood sugar high. Most people think diabetes is only about sugar. Too much sugar in the blood. Too much sugar in the diet. Avoid sugar. Take medicine. And, problem solved. But it's not that simple. Your body is like a big factory. And sugar, that's just one product moving through the system. The real boss in this factory is insulin. Insulin's job is to take the sugar from your blood and deliver it to your cells, your muscles, your organs, your brain, so they can use it as energy. But here's the secret most people don't realize. Insulin can't do its job alone. It needs help, and that help comes from certain minerals. Think of insulin as a delivery truck. The minerals? They're the keys to the warehouse. Without the keys, the truck can drive right up to the door, but it can't unload the goods. The sugar stays outside, in your blood. And your blood sugar reading goes up and up. Now here's the tricky part. When your body is low on these minerals, you don't feel sick right away. You don't get a fever. You don't break out in a rash. That's why I call it a silent deficiency. At first, all you see is, my morning reading is higher than usual. Or, why did my sugar spike today? I didn't eat anything wrong. You think it's just a bad day. But those days start to add up. And over months, your blood sugar slowly creeps higher and higher. You may even need stronger medicine. When the real problem is, your body is missing the very tools insulin needs to work. So why do diabetics lose these minerals faster than others? 3 main reasons. First, high blood sugar makes your kidneys work overtime. When your kidneys filter your blood, they don't just flush out sugar. They also flush out these minerals, like water leaking from a cracked bucket. Second, our modern diet doesn't help. White bread, white rice, processed snacks, they're stripped of minerals during production. By the time they reach your plate, they're just empty calories with almost no nutritional value. Third, even our vegetables and fruits today don't have the same mineral content they did 50 years ago. Why? Soil depletion. When farmers grow the same crops over and over, and don't replenish the soil properly, the plants absorb fewer minerals. So even if you eat your veggies, you might still be getting less than your grandparents did from the same foods. I've had patients who said, "But doctor, I eat healthy. And yes, they do. Plenty of greens, some whole grains, lean meats. But when we tested their mineral levels, they were still low. Not dangerously low, but low enough to keep insulin from working at full strength. One man, Peter, 68 years old, had been controlling his sugar well for years. Then suddenly, his readings started climbing. He swore he hadn't changed his diet. He was walking every morning, taking his pills. We checked his magnesium and chromium levels. Both were low. We adjusted his diet and gave him a gentle supplement plan. 3 months later, his fasting sugar dropped by almost 25 points. No new medications, just restoring what his body had been quietly losing. That's the silent danger here. You don't feel the deficiency until it's already affecting your numbers. And that's why I want you to know about the top 2 minerals diabetics must restore. Because if you ignore them, you'll keep fighting an uphill battle. But if you replenish them, you give your body a real chance to control sugar naturally. In a moment, I'll tell you about the first mineral. It's one most people have heard of, but they don't realize just how deeply it's connected to blood sugar control. This mineral is like oil in an engine. Without it, the parts grind and wear out. With it, everything runs smoother. You know, if I had to choose one mineral that diabetics overlook the most, it would be magnesium. It's not flashy. It doesn't have the fame of calcium or iron. But it quietly controls so much of your health, especially your blood sugar. Let me explain it simply. Imagine your insulin as a key. That key needs to open the door of your cells, so sugar from your blood can go inside and be used as energy. But here's the catch. If you don't have enough magnesium, it's like the lock is rusty. The key still fits, but it's harder to turn. You twist and twist, but the door barely opens. Sugar stays in your blood. Your readings stay high, and your pancreas has to work even harder to make more insulin. Magnesium is involved in over 300 different chemical reactions in your body. That's not an exaggeration. It's the truth. For diabetics, 3 of those roles are critical. First, magnesium helps insulin bind to your cells. Think of it as the handshake between the insulin and the cell. Without magnesium, that handshake is weak, and the cell might not let sugar inside. Second, magnesium helps your muscles store sugar. When your muscles take in sugar, it lowers the sugar left floating in your blood. Third, magnesium protects your heart and your nerves. 2 areas that diabetes often damages silently. Low magnesium makes heart rhythm problems more likely, and can worsen nerve pain or numbness in your hands and feet. Now, here's the frustrating part. Even though magnesium is found in many natural foods, most people don't get enough. Why? Reason number 1. Refined carbs and processed foods. White bread, white rice, packaged snacks. When grains are refined, most of the magnesium is stripped away. Reason number 2. Soil depletion. 50 years ago, spinach had more magnesium than it does now. Same for beans. Same for nuts. Modern farming methods have drained the soil of minerals, and the plants can't absorb what's no longer there. Reason number 3. Diabetes itself. High blood sugar makes you urinate more. And with every trip to the bathroom, you're not just losing sugar, you're losing magnesium too. So, many diabetics are walking around with a hidden magnesium deficiency, and they don't even know it. What does that cause? First, higher fasting sugar. You wake up, check your number, and it's stubbornly high even if you didn't eat much the night before. Second, increased insulin resistance. Your body needs more and more insulin to do the same job. That can push you toward higher medication doses, or even insulin injections. Third, greater risk of nerve and heart problems. Without enough magnesium, the tiny blood vessels that feed your nerves start to weaken. Your heartbeat can become irregular. Your blood pressure can creep higher. Let me share a real case. A woman named Susan came to see me. She was 61. She'd been diabetic for 12 years. Her fasting sugar was always around 160. No matter how strictly she ate. She told me, "Doctor, I feel tired all the time. My legs cramp at night. And my fingers, they feel like they're tingling." Those symptoms made me suspect a magnesium deficiency. We ran a blood test. Sure enough, her magnesium was on the low side. Not dangerously low, but low enough to affect her insulin. I put her on a plan. More magnesium-rich foods. A small magnesium supplement after dinner. Plenty of water to help her body use it well. 6 weeks later, she came back smiling. Her fasting sugar had dropped to 135. Her leg cramps were gone. And her energy? Doctor, I feel like I woke up from a fog. She said, I've seen that story again and again. No miracle pills. No fancy treatments. Just restoring what the body was quietly missing. But here's something I want you to understand. If you decide to work on your magnesium, you have to be patient. This isn't like taking a painkiller where you feel better in 20 minutes. It's more like watering a dry plant. You give it what it needs. And over the next few weeks, it comes back to life. Your cells need time to rebuild their magnesium stores. Your insulin needs time to start working at full strength again. Another point many people overlook. Low magnesium can make you feel more stressed. It's connected to your nervous system. When you're low, you might feel anxious or restless without knowing why. And stress hormones can also raise your blood sugar. So by restoring magnesium, you're not just helping insulin, you're also calming your whole system. That's why I call magnesium the quiet helper. It works in the background. But without it, your blood sugar control will always be harder than it needs to be. In a moment, I'll tell you how to make sure you're getting enough magnesium every day. From natural foods. And, if needed, from safe supplements. Because knowing magnesium is important is one thing. But actually getting the right amount. That's where the real change happens. Now, let's talk about the practical side. Because knowing magnesium is important is one thing. But actually getting enough every day. That's where the real change happens. I always tell my patients. Start with food. Why? Because your body absorbs minerals from food more gently. More steadily. And usually, more safely than from pills alone. So, which foods are rich in magnesium and safe for diabetics? Let's go through them, one by one. First, leafy green vegetables. Spinach, Swiss chard, kale. These are like little green powerhouses. 1 cup of cooked spinach can give you about 150 milligrams of magnesium. That's already nearly half of what some people need for the whole day. And the best part? Leafy greens are low in carbohydrates. They won't spike your blood sugar. Second, nuts and seeds. Almonds, cashews, pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds. A small handful, not a whole bag, can give you a strong magnesium boost. And nuts also contain healthy fats that help you feel full longer. I had one patient who replaced her evening cookie with a small bowl of pumpkin seeds. She told me, Doctor, I thought I'd miss the cookie. But after a week, I didn't even want it anymore. I felt satisfied. That's the power of giving your body real nutrients. Third, legumes, black beans, lentils, chickpeas. These not only give you magnesium, but also fiber, which slows down sugar absorption and helps keep your blood sugar steady. If you're worried about carbs, remember, fiber in legumes offsets much of the impact on blood sugar. Just keep portions sensible, and pair them with vegetables or lean protein. Fourth, fish, mackerel, salmon, halibut. These are rich in magnesium and omega-3 fats, which reduce inflammation and protect your heart. I know some people say, Doctor, fish is expensive, but even canned salmon or sardines can be a good, affordable source. Just choose ones packed in water, not oil. Fifth, whole grains, oats, quinoa, brown rice. Whole grains still have the bran layer, where most of the magnesium is stored. When grains are refined into white flour or white rice, that layer is removed, and with it, most of the minerals. So how much magnesium do you actually need? For most adults, the daily requirement is around 320 to 420 milligrams. But here's what I've noticed in practice. Diabetics often benefit from the higher end of that range. Why? Because they lose more magnesium in their urine, and their bodies need extra to keep insulin working properly. Now, sometimes, even with the best diet, you still can't get enough magnesium from food alone. That's when I consider supplements. The best forms? Magnesium citrate, magnesium glycinate. These are easier for the body to absorb, and less likely to cause stomach problems. The form to avoid? Magnesium oxide. It's cheap, but your body absorbs very little of it. Most of it goes straight through your system. A few tips if you take a supplement. Take it after meals. This helps reduce the chance of diarrhea or stomach upset. If you have kidney disease, Talk to your doctor first. When kidneys can't clear extra magnesium, it can build up to dangerous levels. Don't take huge doses thinking, more is better. Too much magnesium at once can cause diarrhea. And that can actually make you lose more minerals, not gain them. And remember, magnesium is not a quick fix. You won't see your blood sugar drop overnight. It works quietly, over weeks, maybe a few months, helping your insulin work better. Your muscles take in more sugar. Your nerves feel calmer. I always tell patients, it's like filling a bucket that has been half empty for years. It takes time, but when it's full, everything works better. Lifestyle pairing makes the effect even stronger. Stay hydrated. Water helps transport minerals to where they're needed. Keep a balanced diet. Don't rely on just one food. Variety ensures you get magnesium along with other nutrients that work together. And yes, even light activity matters. A gentle walk after meals helps your muscles pull sugar from your blood. And when your magnesium is topped up, those muscles can do the job even better. I'll leave you with this thought. Magnesium isn't some magic bullet. It's a missing tool your body needs to fight diabetes effectively. If you give your body that tool, through leafy greens, nuts, seeds, fish, whole grains, and, if needed, a good supplement, you're not just lowering your blood sugar. You're protecting your heart, your nerves, and your overall health for years to come. Now, we've talked about magnesium, the insulin helper. But there's another mineral, just as important, that acts like insulin stabilizer. Without it, your blood sugar can swing wildly, even if you're taking your medication perfectly. In the next part, I'll tell you all about this second mineral, and why it might be the missing link in your diabetes management. Now, let's talk about the second mineral. If magnesium is the insulin helper, then chromium is the insulin stabilizer. Magnesium helps insulin open the door to your cells. Chromium makes sure that once the door is open, the sugar moves inside smoothly, without chaos, without wild swings in your blood sugar. So, what exactly does chromium do? Think of insulin as a teacher in a busy classroom. The students, that's your sugar, are full of energy, bouncing around. Chromium is like the teacher's assistant. It helps keep the sugar organized, moving into the right cells, at the right speed. Without enough chromium, insulin has to work harder. Your sugar may rush into the blood too quickly after meals, then drop too quickly later. That's when you feel those sugar spikes and crashes. Why do so many diabetics lack chromium? One reason is high sugar intake, even before being diagnosed. Every time you eat a lot of sugar, your body loses chromium through urine. It's like pouring water into a leaky bucket. Another reason is our modern diet. Whole foods, whole grains, fresh vegetables, nuts, naturally contain chromium, but processed foods? Almost none. And when you think about it, many people's diets today are built on processed foods. Even something as simple as white bread or pasta. The chromium is stripped away during refining. What happens when chromium is low? The first sign can be cravings, especially for sweets or starchy foods. You might eat a full meal, but within an hour or two, you feel the urge to snack again. The second sign is fatigue after meals. You eat, your blood sugar rises, then it crashes too fast. Your energy drops like a rock. The third sign is unstable readings. One day your sugar is fine. The next day, it's higher than you expect, even if your meals look the same. Let me share a story. A patient named Robert, 65 years old, came to me frustrated. He said, "Doctor, my readings are like a roller coaster. One day, fasting sugar 120. Next day, 160. I'm eating the same breakfast. I don't understand." We checked his diet. Low in vegetables, almost no whole grains, very little nuts or seeds. I suspected low chromium. We made changes. More broccoli and green beans in his lunches. Swapped white bread for whole grain. Added a handful of walnuts each afternoon. I also gave him a small chromium picolinate supplement. Just 200 micrograms a day. After 6 weeks, his readings started to level out. The wild swings were gone. He said, "It feels like my body finally calmed down." So where can you find chromium naturally? Broccoli, one of the richest natural sources. Green beans, low in carbs, high in chromium. Whole grains, oats, barley, whole wheat, nuts, walnuts, Brazil nuts, almonds, Lean meats, turkey, chicken, beef. The trick is variety. Don't just eat one source and expect miracles. Spread it throughout your meals. What about supplements? If you need more support, the best form is chromium picolinate. It's well absorbed, and most studies on blood sugar use this form. The safe range is 200 to 1000 micrograms per day. I usually start patients low, around 200 to 400. Then adjust if needed. And remember, more is not always better. Too much chromium can irritate your stomach. And in rare cases, stress the kidneys. If you have kidney disease, always check with your doctor before starting. Just like magnesium, chromium works gradually. It's not a quick sugar-lowering pill. But over weeks, it helps smooth out your sugar curve. Fewer spikes after meals, fewer crashes that leave you tired, and better overall stability in your readings. I often tell patients, think of chromium as the gentle hand on the steering wheel. It doesn't slam the brakes or floor the gas. It just keeps you steady on the road. We've now covered both key minerals. Magnesium, the helper. Chromium, the stabilizer. I'll bring it all together. I'll show you why these two, working side by side, can make blood sugar control so much easier. And why ignoring them is like trying to fix a watch without all the gears. Let's wrap it up with a sincere message I want you to hear. So, we've reached the end of our talk today. We started with the frustration that so many people with diabetes feel. The strict diets, the careful medication schedules, the exercise routines, and still, those stubborn numbers on the meter. And we've discovered something important. Sometimes, it's not your willpower. It's not that you're doing anything wrong. It's that your body is missing two quiet, essential helpers, magnesium and chromium. One helps insulin unlock the door to your cells. The other keeps the sugar moving inside smoothly. So you avoid the highs and lows that drain your energy. When these two are working together, it's like giving insulin a strong team behind it. Suddenly, your readings become easier to control. Your energy feels steadier, and you have fewer of those frustrating "what happened today" moments. I want you to remember something. Big changes in health often start with small, steady steps. Adding a handful of nuts to your afternoon. Choosing whole grains over refined ones. Including a serving of leafy greens or broccoli in your meals. Drinking enough water each day. These are not huge, impossible tasks, but done every day, they can shift your health in a powerful way. Over the years, I've watched patients who felt hopeless find new confidence in their blood sugar control. Not because they found a miracle cure, but because they learned how to give their body the tools it needed. I've seen a tired grandmother regain enough energy to walk her granddaughter to school. I've seen a man who once feared losing his vision look at his test results with relief. And I've seen the joy in people's faces when they realize, it wasn't all my fault. I just needed to fix what was missing. So, if you're listening to me right now, I want you to know, you are not failing. You are fighting a battle every day. And you're doing it with strength that others may never see. If your numbers aren't where you want them to be, it doesn't mean you've lost. It means your body is asking for something extra. And now, you know what those things are. Magnesium, chromium, two simple names, but together, they can make a real difference. Before we finish, I want to thank you for spending this time with me today. I share these lessons because I've seen the difference they make. And because I believe knowledge is one of the greatest medicines we have. If you found this helpful, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to this channel. That way, you won't miss the next time we share tips and stories that could change your health for the better. If you think this message might help someone you love, click the like button, and please, leave a comment below. Share your experience, your struggles, or even the small victories you've had. Your words could be the encouragement another person needs. Take care of yourself, be kind to your body. And remember, small, steady changes can create big, lasting results. I'll see you next time.